Okay, great. Supposed to be silent. Everyone, I'm gonna give a little bit of time here for people to get in. So weird. I know I turned it all the way down. All right, I'm gonna keep bumping the camera. Let's check things here. Looks like we're doing okay. Great, okay, I see Carol, awesome, so I am live. Whew. It's always a scramble at the last minute to get everything together. Everything I think is ready to go, and then I forgot something, and so it's always a scramble. All right, hi. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get the camera away from my face and down on my work surface, and we are gonna get started. I'm trying to do several cards in today's live. We are going to be playing with the weaving fancy die. Let me grab it here. This die here that came out in the summer release. This one's really fun. I started playing with it yesterday and I just couldn't stop. There's just a lot of potential, I think, with this die. We're going to be doing some ink blending, some stamping, of course, some weaving, and I'll show you some different takes with this die because, like I said, there's a lot you can do with it, even beyond weaving. Though we'll be doing a lot of weaving. Hi, Libby. Oh, such a mess today. I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, turn the camera away from my face, and let's hope everything is working with our other camera here. So let me change cameras. And hopefully you can hear me now. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Otherwise, I'll use the other camera. Like this. Oops. Meant to turn it down. Nope. Okay, silent. That's the way to do it. Oh, mute. There we go. All right, just give me a heads up that you guys can hear me. Okay, great. Thank you. Before I get started. All right, great. Okay, so I'm just in shock. Everything's working. Yay! We're going to start with this stamp set here. This bold print. This is the woven pattern. I wrote everything down. Woven pattern wave bold prints. This is a gorgeous stamp. Oh, of course, now we're freezing. I spoke too soon. We're going to stamp a rainbow background with this, and then we'll eventually get to this weaving die, but we need to create our panel first. Thank you, Carol. All right, I'm going to grab some cardstock. Oh, and I'm going to pull that out. You can see I'm messy. I have everything left over from when I stamped it earlier. I didn't clean out my MISTI. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me. We're going to place our stamp. I still have some sticky. I just tape my panel down to my well and my MISTI. That's all I do. And I still have some residual stick from when I used it yesterday. So I'm just going to rely on that. And this background ends up looking like, I think it reminds me of fruit stripe gum, especially when we kind of start weaving with it eventually. Let me grab my inks today that I'm using. We're going to be using Splash, all reactive ink, Splash, Pool Party. I love me some reactive inks, Taffy, and lastly, Lemon Drop. All right. Thanks, Libby. Thank you guys for the compliments. They're just glue-on nails. That's my speed. All right. And I'm going to ink up. Let's move my MISTI over so you can actually see the stamp. I'm going to be inking up this with all these 4 colors, but in kind of a rainbow diagonal. I'm going to start with my yellow. I like to start with it because it's the lightest color and it gets eaten up the most. So I just kind of go a little more with the yellow than I probably normally would. And I've got my ink pad kind of angled, so I'll only have a small amount. I know, I love this stamp. It's so cool. It could be used for so many things. Like, I'm just going to make a rainbow background with it. But you could use it for water, I think, or even sky. It has that kind of, just that geometric design, a wavy kind of design that would work for lots of different things. I think even grass, like rolling hills and grass. There's just so much you could do with this stamp. Still waiting for sunshine. Oh man, I wish I could give you some of ours. We've had plenty. Okay, there we go. Looks pretty good. I'm going to ink it up and stamp it again. And just before the live, I went and cut my hand on something. I don't know. So I had to run and get Band-Aids. I'm telling you, if I'm not running around crazy, then I don't know who I am. Not me. All right, we're just clear here. Oh, I'm going to use my scrubby. There we go. Okay, last time with yellow, and then we're going to start moving on to the other colors. Don't think I did the bestest job cleaning this stamp, so my yellow looks a little orange, but that's fine. Now we'll move on to, trying to remember what I did on the last one, not that it matters totally. We're going to do taffy. So I'm just inking up right next to where I did the yellow, again following that same angle. And I'm not really worried about having a smooth transition between my colors because I'm going to be chopping this up and weaving with it. So it doesn't have to be the most perfect gradation. Ooh, that's so pretty. Do it again. And oops, I'm not using splash. I'm going to use actually berry smoothie. There it is. Forgot what I was doing. Oops. Okay, it like freezes a little bit, but it's not too bad. Whoops. We need to go a little bit lower with that purple. Hello, Rosie. All right, it's looking good. Isn't that looking so pretty? Now we're going to move on to pool party. Pool party is awesome because when it's overlapping the yellow or the pink, it'll make like a new shade. When it overlaps the yellow, it'll be a little green. And when it overlaps the pink, it makes a little purple. But we're actually only going to be overlapping the yellow today, that lemon drop. Can you see how it already, to me, it starts to already look like Fruit Stripes gum. Starting to get there. It's so great, isn't it, Donna? It's a gorgeous stamp. I love it. It's so pretty. Especially with like this ombre inking. Gorgeous for that. And like I said, it could be used more, less designy if you wanted to use it more like realistically, sort of. It could be used for water, grassy hills, I think even sky. Yay, Rosie, I appreciate that. That's always good for me to hear. We've been trying all sorts of things to get it figured out. All right, I got a little spot here I'm missing. Again, I don't have, this doesn't have to be perfect because I'm chopping it up. This is just me being kind of, my perfectionist nature kind of coming through where I want it a perfect impression, but it doesn't have to be because we are going to chop this up. All right, we're almost there. Woo, so pretty. So now I'm going to move on to berry smoothie again. And I pull this a little bit closer. You can really see where I inked, and that's how I can follow along, especially the darker colors. The yellow is harder to see, but the blue and the purple, you can see where I inked previously, so I know where to kind of go, the angle to follow, and where to overlap. Ooh. Oh, I love it. And then I think we finish up with a little bit more of taffy. And I'm not even cleaning in between my colors. That's also how I'm kind of helping that gradation along by not really cleaning in between cleaning the stamp in between my inks. I'm not really worried too much about contaminating because I did start with my lightest color first. All right, and then I'm going to finish a tiny bit of yellow. Probably don't need to do that, but we'll do a little bit of yellow at the end. Can never go wrong with the rainbow, right? It always looks good. Okay. Oops. I'm pressing on the wrong corner. A little bit more, then we're done. All right. How are we doing there? Good. Done. Woo, pretty. Okay, let's pull this out. Gorgeous. Put that down. Put my inks aside, and now we're going to die cut this with the Weaving Fancy die. This die is super cool. I'll die cut it first, and then it'll kind of make more sense, but it doesn't cut out a bunch of stripes. So cut out some stripes, but I'll also leave some stripes attached to the panel, and that's where you're going to weave. What's the name of the stamp? The stamp is called, that bold print stamp is called Woven Pattern. This is the Woven Pattern Wave bold prints. So it has wave in the name. Woven Pattern Wave bold prints. And it's a new one that came out with the summer release as well. So it's new. Oh, I love it. It looks so good. Those colors with that print. I'm trying to find my top plate here. Okay, we're gonna run this through. I'm trying to avoid taping it just because I'm lazy. I should probably just tape it. Just tape it to make sure it doesn't slip and slide. All right, that looks good. Let's die cut this out. No problem, Cindy. How fun are these lives? I watched Mindy's yesterday. Oh my gosh, I loved her live. I learned so much more. I got so many more ideas to use with the new sprays. It was so good. And she made some gorgeous backgrounds. All right, you can see how it cuts out some stripes completely, but leaves some intact. And we left with these gorgeous, look how these beautiful rainbow pattern stripes. Aren't those so cool? Hello, Brianne. There we go. So those are a little pile. Look at that panel. Love it. All right, so now we're gonna weave this. So I've actually already did this exact same thing. I stamped it with that woven pattern way bold prints in that rainbow of colors. Die cut it with the weaving fancy die. And I started weaving these strips through the panel. I'll show you what I've got so far. So I wove all the strips through, and this is what I got. And that's as far as you'll get with one panel. So you see now why I've made a second panel, because I want to completely cover this panel with this woven paper, these woven strips. So I'm going to keep going here, and you can see how it looks, how it comes together, how you do the weaving. All right, it does have kind of a bamboo look. So you're just going to do the opposite of what you did before. So this here, I'm going to go over. I'm sure this is going to be very familiar because this is kind of like, I'm sure we've all done like a weaving project in grade school, right? I remember doing this in grade school for art class. And my daughter did it. She loved it. She did it too, which is cool. Just kind of slide it up. And there we go. And this is, yes, like pot holders. Exactly like pot holders, but a lot easier. And in my opinion, more fun. My daughter she got a pot holder weaving thing for Christmas. So now I'm going to go under and then over. And we're going to get this whole panel done here so we can see it. This is just kind of like, for this first card or this first panel I'm showing is like kind of really kind of a basic approach, but maybe spicing it up a little bit with stamping a rainbow stamped background. But I have a bunch of other ideas. Yes, I agree. Summer days of long ago. And it's fun. I enjoyed this. This is just kind of fun. It's fun to see how it evolves and changes. And I'm not spending any time really thinking about which strip I grab. Maybe the only thing I'll be mindful of is try to do contrast. I'll show you with the next strip what I mean about contrast, because I think things are more interesting when they're contrasting. So there we go. Get that one in there. So what I mean about contrast is if I hold up, like no two stripes are going to be exactly the same, but they can be kind of similar. Maybe like these two, where they have purple kind of on this end and that yellow pink on this end. So I would avoid putting both of these in like that. I would flip one at least, so we have more contrast, so it's not two purple ends right by each other. That's the only thing I'm kind of being a little mindful of as we go along here. All right. And I'm going to weave this whole thing. Oops, I messed up on this one. But there is no reason why you have to do the whole thing. You could just do like the center, which is almost what I did with this one. But I wanted to show you guys one all the way woven. Whoops. Pulled it out of some of these. Tuck them in real quick. There we go. So am I the only one? Does this remind anybody else of fruit stripe gum, right? Does it remind you? Does anybody else think it does? Did you see the spelling bee winner? Oh, wow. No, I did not see a spelling bee winner. Do you see the spelling bee winner word by the 14? No. Favorite gum wrapper. Yes. To make chains with. Yes. Oops, and I'm doing what I said I didn't want to do. It has been a busy week, so I haven't seen, well, I've been working and watching stuff, but like old things that I don't have to pay attention to. And do you guys do that when you have some work to do and you want to kind of just put something on? Even almost sometimes podcasts are too distracting. Maybe if I haven't heard it before, I can find myself just stopping and listening and working anymore. So I'll put on some show or something that I've seen before. So this week was Cat and Kim, which is one of my favorites. Oh my gosh, that was the word, Melissa? I'm not even going to try to say it. That's Gilmore Girls. Very good. That's a good one. I've watched one, two. I didn't, even though I am of the age, I didn't really watch Gilmore Girls when it came out. I don't know what I was doing. I watched Dawson's Creek, though. And Felicity, if anybody even remember Felicity. I wouldn't have gotten any, I never made it into any spelling bee. I am one of the worst spellers. I can manage to spell things wrong, even with autocorrect. So I think it might even be a skill to be that bad. But my daughter's pretty good. She's a good speller. She takes after her dad. Much better at those things. Okay, so we're almost done with this second panel of stripes. I didn't watch Gilmore Girls. I watched with my daughter. Oh, nice. Yeah, my daughter's a little too young for Gilmore Girls. Oh, we have one more. But maybe someday. I liked it, though, when I watched it. I enjoyed it. I got wrapped up in it. But this week was Kath and Kim. Has anybody seen Kath and Kim? I adore that show. It's so funny. Cracks me up. All right. Oh, I see we're a little frozen. Okay, I'm going to hold it up to the camera here. Hopefully we stop being kind of frozen. I don't understand why it works sometimes and then it doesn't work. We might have to jump to our YouTube locked up. Did I do that? Yeah, I don't know why it does this sometimes. It's like it doesn't like to go for very long. I see that, Cindy. Thank you. I see it. I think it's doing it for everybody, no matter what you're on. What we might have to do is switch my camera if it doesn't start getting a little bit better. It looks like it's getting a little bit better. All right, good. Okay, so now I'm going to take this and I'm going to cut these stripes out because I don't need this panel. Yeah, I know Mindy's was great. I've got to figure out what Mindy's doing and what I'm doing wrong. Because I'm clearly doing something wrong. I'm connected to the Ethernet though. I am. Okay, I'm gonna cut some of these stripes. I don't actually need all of them. But you could actually cut all of them, and this could be how you clean off your panel later. That might be what I do to just kind of finish it off later. Okay. All right, now we're gonna finish up with these last stripes here. And I think I counted 22. It takes 22 stripes. I forget exactly. I think that's the right number. We can count them too when we're done, but I think it takes 22 to get all the way, or strips, I should say, all the way to the bottom. And then I'm going to show you how I finish it off. There's probably bunches of ways. Oops, I messed up this one. I totally did the exact same thing. Let's try to I was worried that I might have a hard time talking and doing at the same time, which it looks like I am today. Isn't that funny? I can normally do it with other things, but this takes like that little bit more concentration. All right, almost done here. And again, you don't have to do the whole panel. There's really no rules. There's no reason to. Today, this first panel that I'm doing, I'm going to make several. I wanted to kind of approach it how someone might the first time doing it, just kind of like the most obvious way, except for maybe you would have used color cardstock instead of stamping. So that was the only difference is I stamped my paper that I started with instead of just starting with colored cardstock to have a little variation in colors. I could really go for some. They still make it fruit stripe gum, right? So good. Okay, so these last few, I find that tweezers make it a lot easier to kind of get through. Just kind of harder to get it through with just your fingers. The tweezers make it so easy. Come on, come on. Almost there. And your ends, doesn't really matter if they get a little bit beat up because you can see there's extra length. So I'm going to kind of abuse this little end here, but we're going to cut it off anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Goes fast. I know that's the only thing. You're right, Kathy. It goes fast. Doesn't last too long. I still could go for one, I think. Still sounds pretty good. My cousin has a birthday party today, so that's where I'm going after this. We're going to go celebrate not my cousin, my nephew. He turns 9, I believe. And everybody's so excited. My daughters are so excited. Oh, and I just remembered I haven't wrapped his present yet. I'll have to do that. Thank you. Thank you, Donna. Yeah, it's going to be fun. The kids are going to have a blast. They can't wait. Oh, okay, we're almost done. There we go. We're done. Woo! Look at that. Fun. Okay. So you could kind of lift up. We have these ends here. You can kind of, some of them are under, some of them are over. You could add a little dab of glue and glue it down and then trim it off. I think I'm going to do exactly what I said. I'm going to use this here, this leftover panel. I'm going to cut the last stripes off, And I'm going to use this to kind of clean up the edges. You could also just cut a frame from white cardstock if you wanted to too. There's tons of different options. But it only takes 2 panels to fill this whole thing if you cut some of the remaining stripes or strips. That's all you need. Okay, we're gonna do it this way. That was cool too, Cindy. We're gonna actually do that. So we're actually gonna do that. I agree, that looks cool. And I'm going to show you that on the next background we make. I'm just gonna clean up here a little bit. And don't worry, I have some finished cards to show you. I really have been playing with this for hours yesterday, just kind of experimenting, because this is the stuff that gets me excited, is kind of playing with color and design and just experimenting and seeing how ink blending looks, how rainbow diagonal works, how rainbow around works, how just ink blending one color and leaving it white. Like, there's just a lot of possibilities and room for play. And I didn't even play with colored cardstock at all. Which a lot of the design team members, when they played with this die, they used colored cardstock and they made beautiful cards. Just using a couple strips of colored cardstock and even some like specialty cardstock as well. Okay, I'm lining this up. Place this on top. First, we gotta get it lined up. Place that on top here for a second. All right. Then I'm gonna grab my scissors. I like to use big bladed scissors. All right. Just make sure everything is kind of lined up and kind of stuck down. Perfect. And now I'm going to trim this off. And when I cut this, I'm going to go a little bit behind that frame. So my scissor blades are actually not on that frame at all. And this will just leave a really tidy, seamless cut. See, look at how beautiful. And you might cut a little bit of the frame underneath, but that's okay. Look how cool it looks in the back too. Cool. I'll do this one. All right, look at that panel. So fun. Very different, has such a cool look. Beautiful colors, beautiful texture. And I would just finish this with a simple sentiment. And like, I'm going to use the luggage lowercase alphabet fancy dies. I'm going to pop them on here real quick just so you can see kind of what I was thinking. Let's say thanks. But I'm feeling a little impatient to actually stick these down. I might do it later, but I wanted to show you what it would look like. So and I think you could use whatever colors you wanted. Doesn't have to be rainbow. It could be more kind of masculine shades. This doesn't scream like feminine in any way. This design or this woven, I think, texture. So it could definitely be used for more masculine cards if you wanted to. And then I'm going to use a sub-sentiment from the woven, or no, this is encouragement sentiment stamp it. Oh, I see we're a little frozen. Let's hope everything works out. Unfreeze, freeze. Grab. Okay. We definitely look frozen. I might have to switch to my other camera. It doesn't unfreeze. Okay. Yep. Let's do that. How do I do that? Okay. All right, let me switch cameras here. I'm gonna let me change that. That's the only problem, is it's a little upside down. I have to do it this way. Oops. But I'll try to flip everything around. Okay. Can you guys still hear me? That camera kind of froze. Okay, great. Okay, you can still hear me. So I was thinking thanks would be there, and then we'd use one of these encouragement sentiments. I'm thinking a good one would be, there's something about kindness. Oh yeah. Kindness changes everything. I would just use this sentiment. Underneath, something like so. Isn't that cute? Okay, great. Let's move on to another background with that woven panel or weaving fancy dye. I'm getting mixed up because the other one was woven. Okay, so we're going to do a simple blended background. Far away, it's blurry. And I'm going to use, get my panel here. Very simple. We're just going to use two colors. Blue raspberry and blue Hawaii. Okay. And I'm going to do a kind of a gradation, but at the corner. And again, this doesn't have to be just like that stamped background. This doesn't have to be a perfectly blended background. Now do blue Hawaii. Love that blue raspberry though, so pretty. Okay, calling that done. I'm going to die cut it with that weaving fancy die. Got to grab it here. Aren't those colors so pretty together? Ooh, they're gorgeous. I'm going to tape it just to be safe. Pop out all those stripes. Look how nicely they come out. I can grab them with my fingers. And we're just going to weave right with this one here. No, I'm going to cut one more actually. I want to save that. Cut one more plain one. This is just plain white cardstock. And we're going to just use this to create a base for our weaving. There we go. You can always use these strips too and just make a stripy background. They're perfectly cut strips, so that's nice. Okay. Now I'm going to start weaving these. This time I'm going to be really thinking about that contrast. So for my next one, I'm going to go this way with the blue starting on the right side. Just kind of slide it down every once in a while. Look at how cool that's looking already. And this was blended at an angle. So it's a gradation, but it's a gradation at an angle. So not all of our stripes are exactly the same. Oops, and I did this one kind of the same way, but I still think it's okay because they're not exactly the same color. And my previous panel, I blended, so let me pull this here. So this is the one we just did. We did a gradation at the top corner down. This one I did a gradation just at the top completely. Can you see the little subtle difference? This one here, all the stripes are going to be the same. This one, they're going to be a little bit different because even some are going to be just almost white. You can see the stripe here that was here was practically white, but except for a little bit of blue. So you just get more contrast that way, more interest. I'm going to be using stripes from both of these panels for our background. So let's get back to weaving. Now grab those other ones here too. So I have quite a variety. And if you remember from our last one, we will end up having to cut. I'm going to actually cut this one that we made together, cut some of the stripes from here. And let's just use this kind of white one, just to show you one that's more white, not a lot of blue. It's going to add some great interest because they're not all the same color. This is the fun part about not using just colored cardstock, but like stamping like we did earlier, or ink blending. We're just going to get more interesting woven backgrounds that way. Another fun idea would be to use like panels that you have no use for, you know, just like your scraps. If I just do a woven background with your scraps, I think that would be very cool too. I didn't show that today because that's kind of like less fun to teach, you know, because it's kind of obvious. But I think that would be a great one to do. Look at how fun it looks. So good. We're going to keep going. See how fast I can get this done. I have a finished one to the side, so I can show you what it looks like when it's finished, but I really want to get this blue one because I know it's going to be so good. Oh my God. So I'm just kind of as fast as I possibly can go. So cool. Is it still freezing? Now I can't tell if it's freezing because I'm on the main camera and I can't tell like I did before. I'm sorry if it is. I am just weaving, so it's not like, I know that's not a great excuse, but it's not like you're missing too much. But I'm going to just keep going with the weaving here and hope that that freezing stops. Yes, I agree, Rosie. Foiled, I almost did a foiled background, and a embossed background would be awesome. A foiled background would be awesome. Even like something that you slightly like did the shimmer spray to, but only do it to like your strips that you're weaving through. That shimmer spray would be really cool too, because the like you were saying, they would catch the light. I think that would be very cool too. I just think this is a die you could really play with and have a lot of fun. Here's how it's coming along. Rosie, you're saying it's freezing too. Darn, I don't know why. I don't know why it works and then it decides not to work. Especially when I'm connected to the Ethernet. I don't know. I don't know. It must be my internet, I guess. Keep going. Oh, but it's looking so good. Oh, it's better already. Okay, great. Good. Phew. We're almost, I would say, a little bit past halfway. So rocking and rolling here. Love the white, the contrast of the white, that panel that we use just as a base. I like that contrast too. Go this way. Still trying to be mindful of that contrast. And I am using Hero Art's Dove White cardstock for the kind of the base. Anything I'm blending over, I'll use the Hero Art's Deluxe Smooth cardstock. So I have a nice smooth blend, but it doesn't have to be a smooth blend. But I do recommend some thicker weight cardstock because you are really kind of bending this and you don't want it to rip on you while you're weaving. I haven't had anything like that happen, but I think the lighter weight cardstocks, you might be in danger of that, especially as you get towards the end where things get a little bit tighter. All right, we're on home stretch here. I'm almost used all my stripes or my strips from the 2 panels. I'm just about to the point where I have to cut some more strips to finish. I'm just going to sacrifice one of my panels for that. I'm not going to use them anyway, so no big deal. And you know what? I'm not going to do this. My last 2 are pretty light. So I'm actually going to, it totally looks like the beach. I think that's why the colors are just so pretty. So I'm going to cut some stripes right now because my last 2 are a little bit too similar and I don't want to use them side by side. So I'm going to cut this panel. Let's get some of the darker ones for sure. All right, let's see how we do with those. But this didn't take so long. I don't think it took that long. Though we're not done yet. I felt like I fumbled with the first one. I don't know why. I tried to time myself too before I did it. I was like, it takes about, I'd say 15 minutes to do one, just to do the weaving part. All right, we're almost there. I think like after this one, we've got 4 more to go, maybe only 3. No, probably 4. Let's grab one of the lighter ones. Just for more interest. So I don't have all the darker blues on the edges. Sometimes we have some, break it up with some of the lighter ones. I think the freezing just happens and then it stops. So I don't think it matters what platform you're on. I think it's just happening and then it will go away. You can always try refreshing too, but if multiple people are complaining about it, it's probably on my end and not your end. So it usually kind of cleans up, except for when I'm using my phone. For some reason, when I use my phone, if it's frozen, it's not going to fix itself. But you just give it some time on this camera, it will kind of, because this camera again is connected to Ethernet, so it should be fine. Okay, only 2 more to go. So just give it a little time. Sometimes it'll fix itself. But I'm just weaving right now anyway, so it's not like you're missing something really crucial. But we are almost to the end. I have only need my tweezers. This one and 1 more strip to go. Okay, last one here. So I think this one totally has a very woven pattern. The last one, the pattern was kind of hidden or kind of camouflaged by the stamped pattern. This one you can really see the woven look, which is very fun. But if you want to kind of change it up, I'm going to show you another way to kind of change up this panel a little bit. I'm just going to kind of force that end through. It doesn't really matter how that end looks in the end because it's going to get cut off. Just try to save time. You could definitely take more care. I'm just trying to rush it along because you're not going to see that part, so I'm not going to worry about keeping it nice and pristine. Oh, Facebook is one strip ahead. So Facebook is faster. What the? That's not what I thought. Okay, there it is. There's the finished background. So this is just woven. You can cut it off, finish it the way that we did the last one. This one here. But if you want to try something a little bit different, I was just reading the comments real quick. You know, these two panels that we used earlier, right? We used this one and we cut it for the strip, so we kind of sacrificed it. But we're going to now finish with this leftover panel. You can just place it on top, kind of line it up. Might have to kind of adjust a little bit. Sometimes these outer ones get kind of stretched out, pulled out by working it. Just kind of have to push them back in a little. But if you line it up, you get a totally different look. I'll pull it off and put it on again. So with the panel, without. With that top panel, without. And both are very cool. I love this one too, but I kind of like the look of this on top. So we're going to glue this down. And this is what Cindy kind of pointed out last time when we did that fruit stripe one. And I put down that remainder piece like that. She's like, ooh, I like the stripes. And it's definitely a look. Definitely another look. You can see here I blended on the back side of this. Oh, before I glue this though, real quick, I wanted to show you one more thing before I glue this down. If you didn't use this panel here to kind of finish it off, you could use this and maybe another panel left over, and you could kind of weave them together like the whole panels. I'm weaving both panels together. And you can have something really cool like this for a background. How neat is that? We just trim off the excess. But that could be a really cool background too, right? So you can actually use the leftover pieces if you don't use those. There's just so many possibilities, I think, with this set. And I think I really honestly feel like I just scratched the surface a little bit. But let's glue this on down so you can see what it looks like. Excuse me, tickle in my throat. And then I'll show you some of the finished cards, two of the finished cards that I made. Excuse me. Little tickle. Sorry. I don't know where that cough came from. Something, I'm going to say paper fiber blew into my throat. Even inlaying them in reverse would look good. Yes, I think there's so many possibilities. You just just play around with it, right? I think that's what that's what I was talking about at the beginning. This is just one of those products where you can play around with and just continue to discover new and fun ways to kind of use it, because it's a very basic kind of design, but it allows tons of room for play. I'll put this on top real quick. Turn it that way so you guys get the good side. Hold it for a second. I love that idea. I didn't even think about that, inlaying them in reverse. I didn't even think about that. I don't think I have. Do you have any scraps left over? I kind of want to see what it looks like. Where are all my blue scraps? Did I use them all? I didn't. I don't have them. I used them all. I only have one little blue scrap left, and it's hardly blue. But this is what Rosie's talking about. Like inlaying your scraps. I didn't even think about that, Rosie. That's a great idea. Okay. I'm going to trim this off. Oh. It's a fun one. I would recommend it. I think, Rosie, I had kind of the same approach, same opinion of yours. And then I started playing with it. And now I'm like, I'm hooked. I can't wait to now I want to try what you suggested, Rosie. I want to try the inlay, because I didn't even think of that. And that's a very simple way. And you're not even weaving. And like I said, I did full panels today, but there's no reason why you have to do a full panel. You could just have all your strips at the very center, and just put your sentiment there. Or just have all your strips right up here and leave the rest open and glue it onto like a white card back. I'll cut this off a little bit here. But there you go. There's our panel. Doesn't it have a cool look? Doesn't even look woven so much anymore. Rosie, I did a green one. So here's this same card design, but in greens. I used key lime fizz and green apple. So this one was blue raspberry and blue Hawaii. And it's the exact same design, just different colors. Finished it with that luggage, lowercase alphabet. I die cut out enjoy, and then finished it up with a sub sentiment from the encourage sentiment strips. So all this is from the new release. Just says today is your day. Use acetate and make a partial see-through card. Ooh, Penny. That's brilliant. That would be so fun. Oh my gosh. That's brilliant, Penny. I want to try that too. So here's the one that we stamped earlier. Put this one here like that. I didn't get a chance to put these letters down, but you can see where I'm going. It's going to say thanks. So I lost my T. It says Hanks now. Not sure where my T went. I'll find it later. And another one I did is this one here. Let's move this up. So this one, let me actually hold it to the camera so you can see. This one I started with a rainbow panel. So I ink blended a rainbow, but I did a rainbow in like a circle. So like this corner was yellow, then pink, then green, then blue, then purple, kind of like that. Cut them then cut it with the die, cut a white panel with the die, and wove the rainbow ones through the white. And then I did space them out. So that's something else to think about too, is these ones were basically all the color. These two here, these three actually, were all colored. The strips were colored. Here I broke up the design with strips that were just white. So that's a possibility too, is just break it up with colored strips, specialty paper strips like glitter paper. That could be fun too. And I also finished this with a plain white, you know how we did this? Hold the blue one here. We finished this by gluing a panel on top. That's what I did to this one here, but the panel on top is just white. So lots of different ideas. This one's the woven one where it's actually you can really see the, well, it's just left woven. I didn't cover up with a second panel. Let me show you the back. So it has more of that woven look as opposed to these three here where we kind of made more of a checkered look by topping it off with that panel, that plain just panel with no strips woven through. Hope that kind of makes sense. There's a bunch of different things you can do. I now want to try Rosie's idea. I want to try Penny's idea. There's a bunch you could do. Okay, I'm going to turn the camera back to my face real quick. Oh, here we go. And you don't want to forget about the, can't make it again. When we wove the leftover panels, when we wove them together, that was cool too. That was another cool look. So I hope you guys enjoyed kind of creating. Look at that. Oh gosh, it looks so good. I can't wait to take pictures. Creating these panels with me. Oh, okay. I have to show you the back side of this one real quick. So some of these strips in here are from a panel that I blended on both sides because I was playing around. Look at the back side. That's kind of cool too. There's just a lot of fun things you can do. That's a neat thing. Look, and that's another way to kind of simplify the design, and this would be where you put your sentiment. Kind of fun, but I love this. Ooh, gorgeous, gorgeous. And our fruit stripe one, oh my gosh, that's so fun. Definitely can really see the wovenness more. And this rainbowed, almost like checkered look. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed kind of this look at the weaving fancy die and some of the other products from the summer release. And I will see you in the next live. Thank you so much for your patience, and I will see you guys again soon. Bye, everyone.